Okay, so for our Oculus scene, we are going to start with a project that I already built some parts for. I at least built the scene itself, so you don't have to do that. So you'll download this Oculus test zip, and so you should double click on it, right, and uncompress it. And now we have this project called Oculus test, and I put it just where I'm keeping all my VR projects. I just tuck them in a separate folder for neatness. So back in our Unity Hub projects, we can say add, and we'll find Oculus test, and we'll open, and we'll go ahead and click on that and give that a second to come up. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set a bunch of things before we even get to start playing with stuff. And so I just want to cover this all in just one video, and we'll go over everything. So here we are, the scene came up, and well, first of all, notice I said I put stuff in it and you get this blank scene. It's because I changed the name of the default scene. So it starts up with this untitled scene that's not there, that we could save. But if we go down to scenes in the My Assets, you'll see this Oculus. Double click on that, and you'll see the scene that we have up here, right? But we're not going to touch the scene yet. We're just going to simply change all the settings so that we can actually use VR. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the File, Build Settings. And this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to actually stop the video after this, but we have to switch the platform, because right now I have this as PC, Mac, and Linux standalone. Oculus actually runs via the Android platform. So I simply click on Android and I hit switch platform, and it's going to go ahead and take maybe 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to stop the video and come back when... Oh, it made a liar out of me. It switched really quick, maybe because I've been doing this and all this. Sometimes it takes a little while to switch. So we're going to not touch anything here yet. We'll come back to this page. We're going to go to Edit Project Settings. And we're going to need to be in the... Where do we need to be in? We need to be in Player Settings right here. And we need to go all the way down to the bottom and go to XR, and first of all say that this is a virtual reality supported project. And so you'll have this virtual reality SDKs, and it'll say this list is empty, and you have this must add at least one virtual reality SDK. So go over to this plus button and pick Oculus, and wait a second for that to run. And now we have this other warning here. XR is currently not supported using Vulkan Graphics API. So we have to handle that error. So we go ahead and go up to this other settings tab, or accordion right here. And we see right here we have this Graphics API's Vulkan, and we get rid of that. While we're here, there's some other things to do. Well, there's really, I think, just one other thing to do, where we have to go to the minimum API level. Oculus requires an Android level 19 as the minimum, so we'll just set it to that minimum. And I think that's it with this right here. While we're in the project settings, we also need to change one other thing. We go to time, and right now this time step relates to 1/60th of a second. And what we want to do is, for smooth rendering in VR, change that to that everything runs at 90 frames per second. So I'm going to type 1, whoops, get rid of all this, go away, 1 divided by 90, and that will give us 0.011111, right? That will make sure that it renders nice and smooth for us once we get into our Oculus. So that's great, that's there. Next thing we have to do is set up our Oculus project here. So we haven't downloaded the Oculus integration yet, and we have to do that through the Asset Store. So let's go into the Asset Store, and we're going to search for Oculus integration. Hit enter. Here it is right here. So we're going to import it. It'll take a second to import. And we'll say yes, import it. Now once it imports, it'll probably be like, hey, do you want to upgrade all this stuff? I mean, it may. Maybe because I already have it, it does that. Maybe you'll get the newer version, but Either way, we'll let that run for a minute here. And then what will come up is a bunch of things like upgrade. Maybe I'll just pause this video here and get to that. Okay, so once you import, if this comes up, just say yes. Say restart, it'll say upgrade, yes, upgrade, restart. Everything will, your Unity scene will quickly restart. Do, 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 do. Okay, and so our scene's back up here. We can go back to scene. And the last thing we need to do is set some Oculus settings where we actually have to go off to a website and create our Oculus ID and create an app and get an app ID. Dashboard.oculus.com is where you want to go. If you don't have a login, you're going to want to sign in. And I'm hoping with all the quests and goes attached to my account that you're still able to build. We'll find out. And so you're going to want to create a new app. And so I'll call this one SJMC Test. And the platform we want is we're going to take the Go gear, because you notice it doesn't have a Quest, but you'll take the Go for building to either the Quest or the Go. And I'll hit Submit. Okay, so I cut the video because I didn't want this on YouTube because someone could associate it with you and stuff like that. So you'll get to this page, and this app ID is what you're going to need to be. So cut and paste that, and then we're going to go back to Unity, and we need to go up to the Oculus menu, platform, and edit settings here. So you're going to paste those app IDs into both of these blocks here, right? I know we're not doing it for the Rift, but you might as well just put it in both places. The other thing that you're going to need to do is actually sign into your Oculus account. So I have mine associated with my thing, and if I hit my password, I think is this login, and that will clear that once it's logged in, and these app IDs will clear this once you put those in. See, I'm in here. Now you can change the bundle identifier, right? So usually your bundle identifier would be something to do with what you named it in that dashboard, so it's probably something like SJMC Test or something, right? Not really super important at this point of the game if you don't do that. But we'll have the IDs in here, our sign-in, and that's it. Then we'll be able to actually send it up, hopefully, to the Oculus, because I know also all the Oculus are signed in with my email, so it'll be interesting to see if we can all develop on this, but we should have a team.